Hello everyone! Welcome to Motivation Monday! My name is Luciana Barbiero and I am the Academic and Career Advisor at Approach. And for this Instagram Live today, I will be inviting our International Student Advisor, Tammy Key. So we will be talking about test-taking strategies. So the reason why we chose this topic today is because our students here at Approach are in their finals week. So we will be sharing some strategies to help students ace their exams. So let me see if Tammy is here. Hi, Tammy.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good.
Such a beautiful day outside, right?
It is beautiful. I'm sitting outside on my deck today.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. Hi, everyone. Yeah. Tammy, before we start, let's see, what country are you guys watching us from? Can you type in the comments? So, Tammy, today our topic will be test-taking strategies.
Yes.
And we're very excited because I was just telling everyone that this week our students are in their finals. So we want to make sure you guys are good, and we hope that the strategies that we will share will be helpful to you. All right, Tammy.
Okay.
Are you guys ready? Did you get some pen and paper to write this down? So hopefully this will help you in your exams. So for today's Instagram Live, Tammy and I have a list of test-taking strategies for you guys, and this list is from University of Colorado, and they shared a very interesting list that we thought it would be very helpful to you guys.
Yes.
Hello, Ezert. Hi, Giselle.
Hello there.
Kimberly. Fatih. Uxmes. All right. So let's get started, Tammy.
Okay, let's go.
So these strategies will improve your test-taking skills and help you do your best in your exams. So let's get to tip number 1. Write down what you don't want to forget right away. And here what it says. When you first receive your exam, turn it over and jot down everything you want to make sure to remember. Could be like charts you creative, acronyms, anything that you can remember. Circle keywords and strike through answers you want to eliminate. And obviously now we're taking the tests from home. So I would even say that before your exam, grab a piece of paper and write down a few things to remember, and then obviously you put the papers away, but just as a refresher of what you studied this whole week or the past months.
Yes, yes. So the second tip is preview your exam. So just go through it, go through all the questions, may help you review the terms that you know. Also, you'll notice which questions are easier and which questions are harder right away. It will also help you with your reading samples, questions, which will trigger your memory and help you come up with information you need. So we preview your exam first.
Yeah. And the third tip is that start with what you know. You know how sometimes you can look through your exam. If you have the chance to look through your exam first, take a look at all of the questions first and try to start answering those that you already know. You know, leave it the most difficult ones to the end. That will help you boost your confidence while you're taking the exam.
Yes. Yes. That's a very good tip. Tip number 4, weigh your answers. And so weigh your answers gives you time based on the relative weight of the question. So if it's a difficult question or an easy question, don't wrestle with one question for 10 minutes only. So it's usually worth 1 point. Go on to a more difficult question and then come back to the question that you're struggling with.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And the fifth one is read directions thoroughly. Very, very important, because a lot of times students just quickly read the questions, skip through, and sometimes you can miss a question because you didn't read the directions thoroughly, so very important. Always read first. What is your teacher asking you in the exam?
Yes,
Keep that in mind.
Especially if it's a multiple choice. And so multiple choice questions can be very tricky. And so you have to make sure that you read the question thoroughly so that you understand what answer you're actually going to choose.
That's true.
So the next one is read your questions carefully. All right? Sometimes we skip over words in our sentences will cause you to jump to a false conclusion. And so don't let your eyes or your brain play tricks on you. So make sure that you read the question very carefully.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes along together, those two last tips, right? Take your time.
Take your time.
Yeah. And then the next one is change your answers if you know you're wrong. And I think it's interesting to read what they said here. Despite advice you probably always receive from teachers and classmates alike, changing answers when you're sure you've made a mistake is usually a good idea, not a bad one. In one study, less than 10% of students made changes that decreased their scores, while 74% made changes that increased their scores. So read your questions through again, and if you look at one of the questions that you marked one answer, you can go over, reread it, and you think that doesn't really sound right, go ahead and change it, because hopefully that will be the right question.
Yes. And also on that same line, usually the first question that you answered is most likely the correct question. All right? So keep that in mind as well.
That's true.
The next tip is ask for instructions or clarification. So if your exam appears to have a typo or something seems doesn't look right to you, ask your instructor to clarify for you. Of course, if you ask for the definition of a word that is a clue, you probably won't get that answer. But if you have a technical question or a question about the test-taking process, don't be afraid to ask that question.
Yeah. And then also they say, pay attention to aha moments.
Yeah.
So something that you can always, let's say you're going through the test, and sometimes later on in the test you find a question that reminds you of something that you had answered before. So if you have a realization about that, go back right away and change the question, or go ahead and answer the question that you couldn't think about it before.
Yes. The next one is don't give in to peer pressure. So if while you're working away, you look around and you see that many students are leaving because they're already finished, don't panic. Take as much time allotted that you need so that you can complete your exam. Everyone works at a different pace. And so just because your peers have finished, don't look at that as an alarm and say, oh my, I have to rush now to get, no. Take your time. We all don't take tests at the same pace. So just take your time.
Yeah, Yeah, that's a very good one. And I think it also kind of goes along with the last tip, that is save time for review too. So even if if there's additional time at the end, if you were able to complete your exam, take your time and go through all of the questions again and read them through to make sure you got them all right. Take your time. I think that's very important too, Sometimes you start feeling a little bit anxious because everybody starts finishing up their exams, as Tammy was saying. But take your time to read over everything. And as Tammy said, people have different paces, right? So
yes,
don't be hard on yourself.
do not be hard on yourself. During the review time, take that as an opportunity to look at the questions that you may have struggled with to make sure that you have actually answered the question properly. And so take the review time to go through all of your questions and your answers to make sure that you answered correctly.
Yeah. So these are more test-taking strategies if, at the time that you are about to start your exam or you are taking your exam. But also, Tammy, something that we could also mention that it's important outside of this is that for you to take good care of yourself in this week. This often can be a very stressful time of the month because of the exams.
Yes.
So maybe we could talk a little bit about some self-care tips too in terms of this, Tammy.
Yes. So one of the first things that you want to make sure this week that you get the proper amount of sleep. You want to make sure that you're very well rested before you take your exam. You also want to make sure that you eat something because you don't want to be concentrating on how hungry you are when you're trying to take your test. So you also want to make sure that you have a light meal, piece of toast or your cup of coffee, whatever, but you want to make sure that you have something in your stomach because you don't want that as a distraction.
Yeah.
And maybe wake up a couple of minutes early. Go ahead, Lou.
I just wanted to comment on the sleep portion. I was always this student who would sometimes pull an all-nighter just to study a little bit more, but that actually doesn't help you much while you're taking your exam because then you're sleepy, you're tired, you're maybe more anxious. So that was a great one too. Yeah.
Yes. And so you want to make sure that you give yourself some time to have some me time. If you know that you have a 10 o'clock exam, you want to make sure that you're up by 8 o'clock so that you have that 2-hour window to take care of yourself, look over your notes, and be prepared for your exam.
I would also add exercising is very nice during this time, especially, I always mention about yoga, but it's always so helpful. If you're going to take your exam in the morning, make sure you get up, after you had a very good night of sleep, you ate something, as Tammy said, get 20 minutes and do some stretching, some yoga, you will feel so much more relaxed.
Yes.
And also drink water.
Plenty of water.
Lots of water, especially now that summer is starting here and it's getting much hotter, right?
Yes. Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
But you want to go into your exam with a positive attitude. And a positive attitude is, I can and I will pass my exam. I am and I will pass. Right? We want to think positive. I can do this. I will complete my exam.
And even doing that in front of the mirror, I was watching a lecture. I can't remember the name of the speaker, but she was talking about, making the positions with your body, how your body language can help you feel more empowered, So you can go in front of the mirror and say and do kind of like a superhero pose and say what Tammy was saying. You know, I can. And this is interesting because a lot of surgeons, for example, they do that before walking into surgery.
Surgery, yes, yes.
And Rendrick is saying, don't forget to study.
Yes, study, study, study.
And you know, and when you're studying too, try not to study just one day before and try to get all the information in. But if you space it out and take, also even take, instead of studying one full day, study for 20 minutes, take a little break, 20 minutes again. There's a technique that we talked about, the Pomodoro technique, a few weeks ago, I think, that is very helpful. Set a timer for you to study, go over that, and take a little break. Drink a little water, get something to eat, and then go back.
And then go back, yes.
To keep your productivity flowing.
Yes. That's very important.
But Tammy, what if I put the book under my pillow overnight? Will I know everything?
No. Only if you open that book before you go to close your eyes and you did some studying. Then you'll remember what you read last night.
Yes. So for sure, study first. And then Rendrick also said get hydrated. Yes.
Yes.
Very important.
Ya tú sabes.
What are some tips that you guys can share with other people? What's something that you do that you think it's very helpful for you? Leonardo was asking, excuse me, do you know the office hours on Zoom? Yes, it's from 2 to 5, usually. All right. I think, Tammy, do you have anything else to add? I think Rendrick can ask, how can we get focused? Yeah. Tammy, are you there? You cut out a little bit. So one thing that you can do
Rendrick,
in terms
you
of...
have to concentrate on the task that is at hand. So try not to be distracted about things that are going on around you. Concentrate on your exam. You know that you have your exams coming up, and so that should be your priority. And if you have to make a to-do list as to how you're going to stay on task, then make a little to-do list so that you stay focused.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would even add to breathing exercises are always very, very helpful because we tend to get a little bit more anxious during this time. So using breathing exercise while you're studying or while you're taking the exam is always very helpful. And just so you know, usually when your exhale is a little longer, you're sending signals to your brain that you need your body to relax. So you could go your inhale in 5, counting 5, and your exhale in 7, for instance. You know, it could be something related to that. Always your exhale a little longer.
Breathe. Very important.
So Fatih asks another question. What if we don't feel ready enough? But regardless, we have to take the exam. What are we meant to do in terms of managing those vibes?
Well, we all there's some things we don't like doing, and I think test taking is one of those things. And so we just have to complete it so that we can move on to our next level. And so we have to tell ourselves, I have to take this exam so that I can move to my next level. If I don't take my exam, I'm going to be in the same level come the next semester. And so you want to just give yourself some reassurance and knowing that by completing this exam, it helps you to get to your next level.
Yeah, and if you're thinking, you know, why are you, if you're could be watching us from abroad, but if you're a student at Approach, you know, why did you come here to the United States? What was your first goal? So if your goal was to learn English, to move on to the next step, maybe your next step is college, you know, so always keep focus on your goal. I think
on your goal.
that's absolutely right. Yeah. And also, like Leticia said, my tip is study a lot.
Study a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so that can also be helpful for Fatih, you know? Study a lot, and then you will feel prepared. Wonderful. Tammy, do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm quite sure that your professors and your teachers or your instructors have been preparing you for this time. And so if you've taken notes, if you're a good note taker, back over your notes over the past couple of weeks so that you can use them to refresh your memory of something that you may have forgotten that may be on your exam. So this is also a good opportunity for you to review your notes.
Yeah, yeah. And you guys got this. You're awesome
you got
students.
This.
We know that you have been studying a lot and putting a lot of effort into learning English.
Yeah.
And you know, we see that a lot of you that come here every Monday to join us to listen to some more English and to interact, and that's amazing.
Yes.
So trust in yourself, study a lot, and you got this.
And stay positive. And remember, like Luciana just said, you got this.
You got this, yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
Tammy, thank you so much. It's always so nice talking to you every Monday.
Yes, me too. Yes, yes.
And we wish you guys an amazing week.
Yes.
Can't wait to hear back your feedback. You're implementing all these strategies in your exams and acing your exams.
Yes, yes. Have a wonderful week, guys. And think positive.
Think positive.
I can.
I can.
I will.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.